Ever been in a cave before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the car!
How will we?
The car! Your offer's been accepted. Ever bought a house before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the closing.
But how will we?
The closing!
When selling your home, you need a local title expert. Trust the company that's been around your neighborhood for over 30 years. The Closing Agent. Close with confidence.
Well, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome. It's not Monday. It's Tuesday. My God, I lost the day already. It was Memorial Day yesterday. It's Tuesday. Way to start the show, David. I'm by myself today. Dana is on vacation, and this is the only show we're doing because there's probably only one person in the world that I could have an interview with and not feel like I was stretching for questions. And that's our wonderful guest today, a good friend of mine and business mentor and all-around smart guy. His name is Barry Miller from Barry Miller Law and the Closing Agent. Hello, Barry. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good, except I forgot what day it was already.
It always happens. The good thing is, being a short week.
What's that?
It'll be a short week, so that's good.
It will be a short week, but I was telling him I was a little worried initially that I'm going to be all alone this week because everyone's going to take a day off. But you and I could talk about anything and everything all day long. So I had a list here, and you already added to it. So let's get right into it because first of all, for those that don't know what your company is, your companies, I should say, Barry Miller and Barry Miller Law and the Closing Agent have been around. How long have you been in business now?
Just about 30 years now.
Remember, you used to have a tiny little house. If you're familiar with Thornton Park, down where Graffiti Junction is, that's what used to be his office, and then he moved into the building he's sitting in right now, and then that he told two friends, and so on and so on, and now you have how many? 5 or 6 offices?
Well, a little news: we just opened up our 6th office in Merritt Island last week, so we're now serving Brevard County, and tomorrow we open up our 7th office in Lakeland.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you're going to be traveling all over the place. Although with today's technology, you really don't have to travel as far. By the way, guys, if you want to ask any questions, you can put your comments right up here in the comment section, and I will pass them on to Barry. And Barry, if you can, you're not quite looking at the camera. You look like you're looking off in the distance. Where's your camera?
My email.
Oh, okay. All right. No worries. No, it's all good. I just didn't know. Dana does it. She goes like this. She's talking over here, and I'm going, what are you talking to? All right. So one of the first things I had on here, that one of the newest technologies that's really come to light during this whole COVID thing has been the RON technology, remote online notary. And I'd love for you to kind of tell our guests a little bit more about that and how it works.
Sure. So we've actually been doing closings online for a few years. And we would do this by using a Virginia notary and facilitate the closing that way, because it was only until January 1st of this year that Florida started RON closings by enacting the statute. So as a matter of fact, I was the very first RON authorized notary in the state of Florida, and Lillian Chow is our vice president of operations. She was the second person. So we've been doing them, and we did our first Florida RON closing January 7th. So it basically, how it works is there's different platform providers that we go through, and there's different options to do there. There's one that you give everything to the platform provider, they perform the closing, and that's the end of it. Basically, the title has no involvement, the agent has no involvement. We don't like that system, so we actually have our own platform, and there's some other ones out there. And the one that we worked on and helped develop is for title people, by title people, thinking about the real estate industry. So on ours, we perform the closing ourselves. We've got now, I think, 7 Ron notaries in our company. And we're on a call just like this. But the good thing is we can put up to 10 people in the room. So the person's attorney can be there, their realtor, their lender, their financial advisor, anyone they want. And we have security protocols built in. So when we come to sensitive things, we can block out the realtor from like seeing their application. And then everything's done right online. Now, the challenge is this. It's something called KBA, knowledge-based authentication, which the Florida statute requires that we have. So that's the thing that everyone's gone around, and you've had this usually from your bank. Which one of these 4 addresses is one you lived at? Which car did you own? The problem, there's 2 problems with that. It's antiquated technology. With all the fraudsters and all of the data breaches, the fraudsters know the answers to those questions. So that's a challenge. The second is with older people, they don't remember a lot of the stuff. So for example, I had a guy in Texas I was notarizing the other day, and he says, they want to know about some card. He goes, I co-signed for my 3 daughters for their cars. I don't know which one this is. I have no idea. It took him 6 times to do the questions to get authorized. So that's one challenge. The other challenge is in order to go through these steps, in order to get authenticated, you have to have credit in the US. So you have to have a social security number. So this cuts out 99% of all foreigners. Now, luckily, I just had a guy that I did in China. He had a TIN number, a taxpayer ID number, and he had credit in the US. So we were able to vet him. So that did work, and that was good. Now, we have just submitted, I haven't submitted a proposal to the Secretary of State's office in Florida because the statute says they can approve alternative vetting. And we have a software system that we use in addition as an extra layer to the KVA. We use it today, and it's biometrics. So it takes someone's driver's license or their passport. They hold it up to the camera. It reads it, checks it against a database to authenticate who it is. Then the person takes a selfie, and then the computer checks through biometrics the person's picture on their ID to them, and then matches them to have a second shot at seeing and verifying who it is. So we're hopeful that we get this new authentication approved by the Secretary of State, because if we do that, that's going to open up the big database to over 200 countries.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, you know, and one of the things about this program that I think is in the way you're doing it, I can't tell you how many times we have a remote notary come to the office here. They have no connection to the agent, to the seller, the buyer. They don't really care to interpret any of the paperwork other than you need to sign here, and that's a little disconcerting for the biggest purchase of your life. But it happens all the time. And I just think that there needs to be somebody in the room to be able that can logically explain. I mean, sadly, I probably know a little bit more than half the notaries that walk in here, and I'm not a trained title person. So I'm really looking forward to that. One of the other things I know you guys do is remote power of attorneys using the same format. It's a little less stringent on the identifying, right?
No.
Or power of attorney. I mean, you still have to do the K whatever thing for the
KBA. Yeah. Now, the other challenge right now is there's very, very few lenders. As a matter of fact, there's only one lender in the whole country that will let you do a full RON closing. There's a term called hybrid where they'll let you close everything except the promissory note, and they want the promissory note to have a wet signature because it's a negotiable instrument, and for court proceedings later they want it. But that's evolving and changing a lot now. I think by the end of the year, because of COVID, absolutely put a rush on it now. I think most lenders by the end of the year will allow first RON closings. And basically, if anyone really wants to know, it's because if we signed it on a RON closing, they want to authenticate it, and basically that promissory note has to go to an e-vault. And like a lot of people have heard of MERS, which is the centrally located place. They are the ones that mainly hold these notes in their e-vault. So that's evolving too. But the nice thing is Fannie and Freddie have fully approved this, but the lenders are not jumping on board yet.
They didn't jump on board with a lot of things. I know back when you were doing the whole thumbprint thing and all of that, it became too difficult. And so many lenders, they're so antiquated. They're still using legal size paper. They don't, they make it so difficult sometimes. Well,
yeah,
what about that? So with COVID,
one other thing I should say. So if we have a lender that won't let us do the full run closing, but the people don't want to come out and can't come out, so what we do is we have them sign the power of attorney with giving one of our 5 attorneys their power of attorney. Then what we do is we use the platform still, go through all the documents online so they can see them. It gets recorded, and then we can, as we go through and explain them, okay, can we sign this document on your behalf now? Are we authorized to sign it?
Oh, okay, I got it. That makes more sense.
Yeah, because I don't like people signing things if they don't know. I mean, some people just give their power of attorney, yeah, sign my loan docs. But what happens if there was a mistake in it? What happens if something's not right? So that way we get that little safety net on there.
That's really cool. And you guys know what they're doing. I mean, you have how many attorneys on staff there now?
Yeah, we got 5 now.
5, yeah. And they saved my butt a lot of times. And while we're talking about you and your staff, I want to let our agents know and the consumers that might be watching that we with the new merger of taking over the company back of April 1st, the closing agent and Barry Miller Law are now our preferred title company and our office attorney. So we're going to be doing a lot of great things together. And I've been doing it for 21 years. It just took some convincing from our other 2 owners. They had a relationship with a prior company, and nothing wrong with the prior company. But I mean, when you're talking about the difference between having 1 attorney and having 5, and just it's a customer service thing for me above all else. And I know that's what you demand of your clients. And you've got a great group of people over there. One of the things we were going to talk about was a little bit about COVID and how it's affected your business, which you kind of just went over that. But I know that one of the other issues that we've been it's been on the fringe, and perhaps you can speak about this, is the landlord and tenant things that have been going on. And you've been hearing all these rumors that you can't kick me out of my house. And the landlord's like, well, I can, but what is really going on? And can you give us a legal perspective on it?
So, so right now the governor has put a moratorium on evictions until June 2nd. So that just means none can happen. Orange County did this even before the governor did. And the chief judge has issued an order that even though we can file the eviction right now, the clerk will not issue the summons. And if you have a case that already had a summons, then they will not issue the writ of possession. And then further, if a writ of possession was issued, the sheriff won't serve it. So hopefully all of that's going to be coming down on June 2nd. Now, that's the good news if you're a landlord. The bad news is if you have a loan on your property that's Fannie or Freddie based, you still may not be able to evict because there's some moratoriums on there, and they may not be able to evict their tenant. So before they go and file, they need to check and make sure they're not going to be in violation of federal law. And the other big thing is we encourage people to do is, especially landlords, is talk to your tenants. And tenants, talk to your landlords, because in eviction, there's no winners, there's just losers. And we've developed a method where people will tell us on how they want to work it out. How about taking your deposit and applying it towards the last month's rent so the landlord can pay his mortgage. Then the tenant over the next several months can pay a little bit extra to replenish the security deposit. Or take what's owed, break it up into 3 or 4 payments, maybe start it 3 or 4 months down the road. I even had one landlord that knew that his tenant was home and out of work. And they said, hey, why don't we do some trade? I wanted to do some stuff in the house. I know you're handy. I got a couple of projects I want to do. I'll waive a month's worth of rent if you'll do these couple of things. One guy was actually painted the house for the landlord. So we always encourage them to do that, look into alternatives to do, we call it a roadmap for resolution, and try to work it out somehow. And then we draft a little addendum, and that way it's in writing and makes it work for everyone.
That's great. That's great. Sorry, I was looking for the wrong button there. I mean, I've been lucky that the two tenants that I have are in good shape so far, but I do worry about them, and luckily it's they're both their unique situations with how the mortgage is. I mean, there's one is the seller on mortgage, so, and the other one we just own it outright. But I know there are a lot of people out there that they depend on that income every month, and they have a mortgage attached to that property that if it's not paid, things could get really messy. So I like the idea. There's some great ideas behind there. So what else? What else can we talk about here? Maybe the landlord tenant thing. And it was about. Can you kind of tell people again what your company does? What other services your company offers?
Yeah, so we do everything from A to Z, everything from A to Z on real estate. From single family residences, we can we represent buyers and sellers. We have a great program. It's especially good for buyers. It's a flat fee of $9.95. We'll write the contract. The agent doesn't even have to. The agent will still negotiate it. We do the back and forth on it. When the inspection comes in, if they need an addendum, we have a great addendum that addresses.
Let's talk about that. I want to talk about that a little more detail. I was actually I figured you would get to that a little later, and I didn't want to interrupt, but I think a lot of agents, they feel like, well, first of all, they have to understand, and I mean, you know this, but a lot of other states, this entire process is run by attorneys. Right. And there are a lot of people from out of the area that feel they need to have an attorney representing them the entire process. And it's not to cut the agent out of the deal. It's just for their protection, because there are some good agents and there's some bad agents, and having an attorney being able to, I mean, I wish more of my clients would do what you're talking about, because then I could just say, oh, I found you the house. Okay, here's Mr. Miller. He's going to write the contract. And he's going to do all that for $900 and something and $995. And I just have to sit back and wait for the inspection to come in. And here, Mr. Miller, here's the inspection. Can you please negotiate that? That's pretty damn cool. I mean, it's a peace of mind. I got freaked out the first time I was asked to bring an attorney on board. I felt like, oh, am I not going to get paid? And it's not the case. It's a protection thing. And if there's somebody who's willing to take on some of your workload and allows you to do other things as a real estate agent that actually make you money, I'm all for it. So
it's peace of mind. And a lot of times we're able to save buyers, especially buyers, money and different costs and things like that. So it works out real well. And then it's just like, we've seen so many problems lately with technically, according to the law, realtors are not supposed to be drafting language in the additional remarks or the additional terms section of the contract. Everyone does.
That never happens, Barry. I don't know what you're talking about.
Happens all the time. And let me tell you, people can do what they want to do. But for example, we had one, I keep a folder, by the way, of addendums that are crazy. The last one last week was funny. It said,
"It's my favorite part of your class, by the way.
Right.
I love it when you put them up on the screen and everyone can see. The buyer would like to, doesn't mean they will agree to that.
Last week was the agent put in there, buyer shall pay 1%. I mean, seller shall pay 1% of the buyer's closing costs.
No, that's not right. Something's missing.
They signed it, they did it, and the seller said, that's all I'm paying is 1% of your closing costs. Your agent wrote it, buyer.
I wonder who ended up paying the rest of those closing costs.
I don't know.
I have a pretty good idea someone who did not want to lose their real estate license or an ethics violation against their thing. Yeah. I've seen quite a few of those come by, and when you do your training here, that's the best part of the class for me, just because you hear about these things and then you wonder, how can anybody be, I don't want to say stupid because anybody can make a mistake, but you really wonder how our office, we're very adamant about people not being able to do any kind of thing like that. They have to run it by one of the brokers here. And even then I'll call you if it's something really odd. If it's something simple like a closing cost thing, that's one thing, but there are so many agents out there that write these long-winded dissertations about what they want instead of keeping it simple, stupid, as they say, the KISS method. And it is amazing what I'm sure I would love to look at that file one day.
And there's the other thing is mixing up the addendums. This morning, I had somebody that used a crisp addendum for a appraisal with a FAR bar, and it created a conflict. Everyone didn't know what to do. And you just, if you want orange juice, you don't take an apple and put it in with the orange.
Well, right. And that's what they did. I had that one come in this weekend. It was the FAR bar contract with a FAR FHA addendum. And the thing is, all you have to do is look and see, does it match? Does that letter of that addendum match up with the page 11 of the as-is contract? If it doesn't, then guess what? You've got the wrong form. And I would imagine that that could cause a whole lot of problems just using the wrong addendum. And so what? So did they? But then the other things they write in the property must appraise. That's their addendum for the appraisal contingency line.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Or what? If it doesn't appraise, what happens? Okay,
Yeah.
it didn't appraise. Doesn't say that you can get out of the contract. And I learned that from you. I learned a lot of things from you. I mean, I listen. And there's a lot to be learned from listening to people who are in the know. And so anyway, this is probably how this is going to go. I'm going to keep interrupting you, and I'm sorry, but
no, go ahead. So one of the biggest things that two things. One is we look at ourselves as deal makers, not deal breakers. It's fine.
Right.
A lot of attorneys are deal breakers. So we'll do everything from A to Z. I mean, I've got right now a project in Kissimmee. I have a client that's building 100 short-term rentals. We've just had a meeting this morning. The client's doing 84 new condominium townhomes. So we do everything from complex things like that to just ordinary closings, commercial, residential, 1031 exchanges. And then on the other side, we do wills, we do bankruptcy, forming corporate formation. We have a lot of realtors that want to get themselves into a PA or an LLC, so we advise them on doing that. So again, any small business real estate we can do.
So speaking of that, I know a lot of agents, I see them with the PA after their name or their LLC or similar. Can you kind of just briefly touch on that, what the benefit is to an agent that's thinking of becoming a PA?
Well, it's mainly for tax purposes. And the first thing I always tell people, before you waste your money, go talk to your tax advisor and your CPA. If they tell you, yes, it makes sense to do it, I can save money through write-offs, through putting yourself, a lot of times the way it's beneficial is people they put themselves on a salary, then it saves them on taxes, they can write off more things, and it's going to be a tax advantage. For someone that's smaller, that really can't take advantage of them, I tell them, don't do it. Just don't do it because it's the thing to do. Do it only if it's going to help you, benefit you, and save you money.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, I'm embarrassed to say this, I thought PA was like some kind of like an attorney or something like that. When I would see that on it, I didn't understand the purpose of it. I have on here TSO. What is TSO?
Okay, so TSO is a title search only. So one of the things we offer to our real estate agents is when you take a listing, let us run a title search for you. It's free. Lets you know if there's any problems right up front, because if there's a problem up front, then we can be working on resolving that problem while you're selling it. So the typical thing that happens is there's a wild mortgage, they put the wrong lot number, there's a claim of lien that was never satisfied. There's a notice of commencement that we have to get a notice of termination. And if we know when you take the listing, even if you take the listing and sell it the next day, we're at least starting to work on it. Because unfortunately, some title companies in town don't run their title until 4 or 5, maybe a week before closing, and it doesn't give you a chance to resolve those. Because 99% of the time, we can resolve those, but we just need the time to do it. And things are challenging out there doing it. I just had we get 4 or 5 deals a month from other title companies. They can't close it. I just had one that they've been trying to close a deal since last October and couldn't close it. We closed it in 2 weeks. And one of the title companies went through 2 different ones. One was an attorney. He couldn't figure it out, We love those challenges. And we get them done.
I've had a few of those challenges with you guys, and you've always been able to solve them. In fact, we just took and you've also been good about getting the clients back to us when it's all said and done. I mean, it's we have a property on a Winter Garden right now where it was just a family issue, and you gave it to Robert Garcia at your office, and he's been he busted his butt and got it all figured out. And I think there are a lot of people that they just give up. They say, well, there's no deal to be had here, and they move on. They leave money on the table, and they can also, but it's also about helping people. And so that's one of those other things that you guys do really well. You're very active in the community with various charities and organizations like that. So, it's always good to know. You help us with our Easter Seals fundraiser, which we're not doing this year. We're going to do a smaller version of it. There's too much going on with the world right now. It's hard to ask people to donate money when they're already, needing the donation possibly themselves. So, Oh my goodness. Well,
One of
here we
the other
are.
things one of the things that's coming up too that's been interesting with COVID is there's been a lot of people trying to twist and take advantage of it. Like, for example, a lot of realtors are saying, "Oh, that's force majeure." Well, under the FAR contract, it's not force majeure. As a matter of fact, I have an attorney right now that I'm not going to say his name, but you would know who he is. He's all over the social media.
Is he on the TV?
And I don't know. But he's taken the position that his client did not have to close on a multi-million-dollar property because his client was afraid to come out for COVID. And we said, absolutely not. We sued his client. It's got a $50,000 deposit. We suing him for specific performance, and he's still taking the position that his client could get out of it, or force majeure. Force majeure was extending the contract until his client felt it was safe to come out, which to this day, he still won't answer us. Does he think it's safe to come out yet? But we kept asking.
He probably has gone to Publix, right? He's probably gone to Publix. He'll go to Publix, but he can't sign some paperwork. Well,
but we also
you should do is follow him to Publix. You know, get his private investigator to follow him to Publix and say, okay, you can go here or get him going to a restaurant, but you can't sign it.
But we offered to do a RON closing, and they didn't respond. Whenever we gave him 5 different alternatives, we'd have someone go to his house, we'd do a RON closing. We tried several different things, and every time we came up with an alternate, just no response.
Well, it's because that's not what he wants. What he really wants is to get out of the deal because he got cold feet. He's probably worried, like a lot of people are with the real estate world. They don't know what's going to happen. You know, I mean, so just you've been doing this longer than I have. Do you think short sales are coming back or foreclosures are going to come back because of this?
No, what I think is short sales, no. Modifications, yes. I mean, through the CARES Act, they put that automatic 1-year extension on there and modifications. And at first, it wasn't very good because anyone who took a deferment then couldn't get a new mortgage until they had a 12-month pay history again.
Right.
Late last week, we put it on our Facebook page. The feds in the mortgage industry have pretty much said, even if you took advantage of a deferment, you could still get it without 12 months as long as you became current in your loan. So that's a good sign.
Tell me, can you kind of elaborate on that? Because I didn't hear all of that with the bill. What are you talking about that when you talk about extend it by a year? What exactly is the process or kind of the idea behind that? Sure.
So under the CARES Act, the lender could extend and modify the loan up to a year. And it's in their discretion what they want to do. But say, for example, I needed some help and I called my lender and they said, sure, we're going to give you a 4-month reprieve and we'll tack it on at the end or make partial payments to make it up later. The problem is, let's say 4 months. Let's say 5 months from now, I decide that I want to buy a house. I wouldn't be able to get a mortgage because I missed those 3 or 4 months worth of payments, even though it was with their permission. So they've now changed that to say that if I did get a modification that deferred the payment, I would still qualify for a new loan. So that's really, really good because a lot of people were afraid to do it because they thought they were going to be moving in the future. So that's a great step in the right direction.
Okay, well, awesome. I really appreciate that, guys. You can reach Barry Miller Law and Barry, the closing agent, over here at www.theclosingagent.com. And I'm sure there's probably barrymillerlaw.com as well. Yeah. But I pulled this one up on the screen and thought that would be the right one to look at for now. And I just lost you. Hold on a second. There we go. Anyway.
So there's a lot in our Realtor Resource Center that's on there. There's a lot of forms, like we put the buyer's rep form on there, which I always encourage buyers to use. There's COVID forms on there. There's a lot of different things that are there.
Well, I will tell you that, as a realtor, we really took advantage of having a law firm attached to our title company to make sure that our COVID forms were what they needed to be. And you guys really knocked it out, helped us knock it out of the park. You and Dana together. So there's a lot to be thankful for. Well, All right. Well, listen, we got 30 seconds before we got to say goodbye. I'm going to let you get back to work. I know how busy you are, but as always, it's a pleasure to talk to you, and I will see you very soon.
Yep.
And
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Look forward to meeting a lot of your clients. I mean, your realtors there. And one of the things I just want to leave them with is, if you're a realtor who uses us and you have a quick question, there is not a charge for one of our 5 attorneys to help you. That way, if you need to write that quick addendum, we'll review it for you, bless it for you, and then keep you out of trouble.
Yes, well, I mean, we're looking forward to having you guys in here for actual classes once we're back up to that level of office meeting. But for now, we're trying to stay safe and keeping it as much in the office as we can. A little Zoom action here and there, but
Our classes are on now too.
They are. Well, I put them up sometimes I'm able to stream them. So,
good.
All right. Well,
Okay.
I will let you go. Have a good day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, as always, I knew there would not be a problem having a conversation there. So, well, guys, that's it. It is 2:30, and it's time for me to say goodbye here. So I'm going to leave you with our little dance off here, and you guys have a great day. There will be no other shows this week since Dana's out, and I've got stuff to do. So I'm going to say goodbye, and we'll see you guys next week. I know we have some really good guests coming up, but I don't know who they are right now. So talk to you soon. Bye-bye, guys. Wrong button. Hold on. We'll do this.
When selling your home, you need a local title expert. Trust the company that's been around your neighborhood for over 30 years. The Closing Agent. Close with confidence.